What's going on, everybody? I hope you're having an amazing week. I just want to talk about the recent media coverage of North Korea, the recent media coverage of Syria, and what U.S. General Mattis is saying, and also just use that as an example to show how the media really eggs on the destruction of not only America, but other countries like Syria and Libya, and even North Korea, and uses slanted, really creepy media coverage to basically, provoke and support some of the foulest, weirdest things happening in humanity. So let's wait about 20 more seconds for people to get into the live stream. Thank you guys so much for joining. As always, you can follow me on Instagram if you would like at dreamrare.com. I have shirts and hats, about to have a new Truth Seeker shirt at dreamrare.com. It should be out in a few days. My website is legendary.vision, which has my contact if you would like to book me for colleges or universities or anything like that. Let's wait about 20 more seconds as always, and legendary.vision, that's my website. You just type that in, legendary.vision. It has pretty much all my social media links, my YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, contact, podcast, music, all that stuff. So thank you guys for joining. Marcus, Linda, hello. Let's wait about 10-15 because it usually takes people to get into the live stream. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to just take a sip of coffee real quick, if you don't mind. I'm still getting in the zone. Lori and Daniel and Andrew, thank you guys so much. So, the point of today's little situation is probably going to be like 10, 20, 30 minutes long. I'm trying to explain how the media, because they play this game, and people always say it's, there's two wings, the Democratic and Republican side, and I do believe it's true. They have little tricks to, trick Republicans, to trick Democrats, and usually the whole thing leads right back to like war, destruction, and the mainstream media has ramped up recently to an even creepier point where it just seems like they want to destroy America and destroy the whole world. I don't know what else to take from it. I understand the tricks they're playing, but I want to start with their North Korea coverage. First of all, the mainstream media, and the mainstream media includes everybody. You could throw, Fox News and whatnot in there, but what I consider the new mainstream media is the 95% of the media that is just anti-Trump. They'll say he's drinking his water wrong. They're trying to just get him out of office and upend him from presidency, and that includes CNN, New York Times, Washington Post, MSNBC. To me, they're the four worst by far. It's not even comparable. They don't care about truth. They don't care about liberalism. They're on an all-out mission to destroy anything just to get their agenda across. So New York Times, Washington Post, CNN, ABC, NBC, Facebook, Twitter, Google, because Facebook, Twitter, and Google, I say all the time, they get pressure from the Democrats and, from the establishment Republicans like McCain and Romney, and they say, you guys better change your platform so no one else but us could get through. So it's gotten very, very, very bad. And these news sources have been nonstop egging on President Trump and calling him all sorts of names for everything he does about North Korea. They've said, Trump's crazy for saying that he wants to talk to North Korea. Literally, Trump said respectfully, he's like, although he does the tweets and the jokes and whatnot, he said, I want to talk to Kim Jong-un. I want to make a play for peace with Kim Jong-un. And CNN and the New York Times and Washington Post and all of these mainstream media, pseudo-liberal news sources, I say that with all due respect. I'm trying to wake my liberal brothers and sisters up. It's not liberal anymore. These are like the war parties. These are the war networks. They're leading you to war. Literally. I mean, watch this whole video and make a decision for yourself. But they don't want President Trump to talk to Kim Jong-un. They don't want him to get along with Kim Jong-un. They don't want the U.S. and North Korea to have good relations. But they're writing puff pieces about North Korea now, trying to romanticize North Korea to the United States public. And it's not because they're trying to strike a peace deal. They're anti-peace deal. They don't want Trump to talk to Kim Jong-un. They don't want any sort of good relations. Yet, this is straight out of the New York Times. This is an article. It says, Kim Jong-un's sister turns on the charm, taking Pence's spotlight. So, it's all real games to kind of program people, and this goes for every news. This is how they're so successful at lying and brainwashing people, is they do it in so many subtle ways, and they program you, condition you, kind of like a video I shared last week of someone who worked in a propaganda arm of the KGB for 14 years. He was explaining how the old Soviets would brainwash and destroy America, and they would do it through the media, through movies, just the same way that the CIA does and the U.S. propaganda. There's Chinese propaganda, there's, Qatar propaganda. Everyone's trying to get their little play in, but, there's a difference between the truth and something that's a complete fabrication. But the highest level propagandists, people from Nazi Germany, people from KGB Russia, they've admitted that the way that they do propaganda is they lie so much that they program people with so many lies that even when showered in information, showered in the truth, they won't accept it. So they've already done that. They've, basically demoralized our nation. They've brainwashed so many people that they're so far gone. They believe so many storylines that are just not even remotely real, that they can't even accept the simple truth, which is strange to me, but it's whatever. But in the midst of all this, Kim Jong-un's sister turns on the charm, taking Pence's spotlight. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out the mental games being played here. Kim Jong-un's sister turns on the charm, takes Pence's spotlight. It's a North Korean puff piece. It's an anti-Mike Pence, an anti-vice president piece. So not only do this is my big problem. I don't care that the New York Times and CNN, I don't care that they don't like Donald Trump. I don't care that they don't like Republicans. This is where I get misconstrued. People say, you're Breitbart, you're Bright, even though I never post Breitbart. I don't read Breitbart. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a conservative. I'm just telling you the truth. I'm sorry if you've been lied to so much that you can't even accept what I'm saying here, but tough luck. So they're trying to program two people that North Korea is good, Trump is bad. And like I said, I don't care if people don't like Trump. I don't care if they don't like Pence. That's not my agenda to make you love these people. But if you're doing those things, at least you have to be doing other stuff right. Just like you don't want to build the wall. You don't want to do this. I get it. I agree with it in some cases. But you have to then have a solution. The New York Times and CNN and Washington Post and ABC and NBC, they don't have a solution because they're lying to you. They want to get their crony criminal friends. They want to get their terrible politicians who are sold out to lobbyists and sold out to Russia and sold out to Qatar and sold out to foreign countries. They want their politicians back in power who are worse than Donald Trump, which is why he won. So this whole idea that they're trying to save America and save humanity from the racist right-wing neo-Nazis, it's a total and utter fabrication. And I'm in no way, shape, or form co-signing Nazis or extremists on the right. I have no tolerance or acceptance for them in that way. But that's not what's going on here. I'm sorry, but they're all lying to you to the point where they're not even hiding it anymore. They want to destroy America. They want to destroy every aspect. The immigration process, the vetting of people with visas and who come to the country, war. They're leading liberals into war. They think regime change war and slave trade in Libya is not a big deal because it's not a word that President Trump says. But they're not even hiding it. They're literally promoting North Korea and taking a dump all over the president and the vice president. Like I said, I don't care if you criticize the president, but they don't have a solution. They're literally on a suicide mission to destroy America. I mean, Kim Jong-un's sister turns on the charm, taking Pence's spotlight. Kim Jong-un's sister is rumored or reported to be the director of the propaganda unit of North Korea. And their, media unit, they've sent out animation videos saying that they want to destroy the United States into a sea of fire. They've been saying this for years. So what message does that tell you? That CNN and New York Times, they don't want the president to get along with North Korea, yet they want to romanticize North Korea in the midst of like a Cold War. CNN, here's another headline. And just wait till I get into what happened in Syria, because it's going to be even more revealing than what I'm saying right now. This is all, this might be a little much for some people, but, the Syria stuff's a little more dry and cut. So CNN puts out an article. Kim Jong-un's sister is stealing the show at the Winter Olympics. So, this is really, really sick stuff. She's stealing the show. She's turning on the charm. She's better than Pence. She's better than Trump. And then when you get, Republicans getting shot up at softball games and Donald Trump's wife has to go to the hospital because she received an envelope with white powder, is it really a coincidence? Are we going to pretend like these things are unrelated? if you watch CNN, if you watch New York Times, if you believe the mainstream media, if you believe the anti-Trump media, your whole head is a mess. And I say that from the most liberal standpoint, from the peace, love, and positivity. I want you to be centered. I want you to be aligned. I don't care if you never vote Republican in your life. But the liberal media and the mainstream press and Facebook and Twitter, Google are so far gone that they've tangled you up in so many lies. If you believe even 1/8 of what they say, I understand why you would want to act on it, because you think President Trump's a racist, sexist, neo-Nazi and a white supremacist, and you think Russia influenced our election and that they're taking over, and you think all these things that just aren't even real. They have no shred of information, but that's all it takes to start a war. That's all it takes to convince people. It's just a headline. I'm going to get into that with Syria, how they basically started this whole regime change war off of questionable evidence at best. But this should be a concern, and I don't understand how it's not to any liberal or progressive or left-leaning person. It's not simply that they're doing anti-Trump journalism for the better. They're lying to you on all causes. Anytime that the truth comes out, anytime that President Trump says something that's honest, here's a big media trick that I can help you out. They never just tell you what's being said and why it's true or why it's... They pitch it as, President Trump said this. So then when they put the truth out there, President Trump said he got wiretapped. President Trump said due process doesn't exist and he wished due process exists. They pitch it to you like that because they've already programmed and conditioned people to reject anything that this guy says. They've conditioned people to literally want to kill Republicans and conservatives, even though at the core of it, they are what has helped America stay free, stay innovative, the free market, the reason that we're innovative and we've invented some of the greatest things that the world has to offer, and we're one of the nicest and free countries to ever exist in humanity. They've trained people to attack those people, not in the name of like freedom and LGBT equality. They're literally pitching you North Korea. They're romanticizing to you the propagandists of North Korea who wants to kill America. They're programming you basically to want to kill yourselves. And I don't know, I wish I had a nicer way to say this. I wish I had a nicer way to spin this. But that's what their whole setup is. It's like Stockholm Syndrome. Like, you're the slave. They feed you all this misinformation, all this fear-mongering, all this hate, all this lying. Then the commercial comes. They sell you all these depression pills because you're depressed now, because you're being fed the most negative spin on humanity possible. And then, people wonder why there's people getting shot up and whatnot. I mean, their whole game, I don't know a nicer way to put it, they're trying to kill you. I mean, I wish I had a nicer spin to put this, but they're romanticizing North Korea. They're telling you, look at all these bad, mean words. Whoa, Trump said bad words. And then you're like, hey, what about the slavery and organ harvesting in Libya? Because, Hillary Obama, went in and the United States went in and funded rebels and then overthrew a government, and now there's slave trade and organ harvesting and streaming. It's like, people don't care. They're like, well, I don't care about what really happened in real life because I care about words and what words said on the screen. And I looked at my phone and CNN popped up and there's words and there's a headline, and those words mean the world to me, even though there's slavery and I don't care. I don't know a nicer way to really spin it anymore. I mean, they're trying to destroy America, not for the freedom. They're romanticizing North Korea. They're romanticizing North Korean leadership. They're preventing the president from having peace talks with North Korea. And they're taking a dump on everything that the United States loves, spending billions of dollars to fund opposition to basically the free market, to lower taxes, to less government, smaller government. The left is all about bigger government and more power. So the next time you get someone like Trump or someone else, they have 50 times as much power. Nothing about it makes sense. And what really, I won't even say worries me because I'm not really afraid, but what's concerning is that Facebook, Twitter, and Google are also getting swallowed up alive, where they're so far biased, they're so far dishonest, they lie to people every single day. But it's still not enough. You have Democratic politicians like Mark Warner, or Warner, whatever his name is. He's going to Facebook and pressuring them and saying, you got to do more. You got to crack down more. You got to censor more. They're trying to destroy America, and they're trying to silence anybody who speaks out. And this is no this is classic communist or extremist totalitarianism on any side tactics. I mean, the dumb people are just dumb, so they'll believe anything. They don't worry about them. The half-baked intellectuals, or the, pseudo, I went to college and I listen to NPR, but I'm still brainwashed people, they're just useful idiots, so they're not going to bother you because you think you're smart, they got all this stuff, they're listening to what they think is unbiased, and, I watch CNN and I listen to NPR, I know what I'm talking about. They're not going to bother you because you're a useful idiot, you're a pawn, playing along with their game and using it to oppress people. They go for the top-level intellectuals and find a way strategically to silence people, to push them out. Oh, they're right-wing. Anybody who doesn't agree with me is Russian. You're a Nazi. Trump's a white supremacist, so if you like Trump, you're a white supremacist. It's really weird and creepy, but that's just what's going on. I don't know a nicer way to put it, and they're going further and further and further. So I would think if you're liberal, you would be a little bit concerned about the fact that CNN, New York Times, and all the same newspapers that have been lying to you all year, New York Times and CNN have both got caught last year pushing fake anti-Trump news. New York Times' anti-Trump news was that 17 intelligence agencies, 17 intelligence agencies said this, they said this. That was a lie. They had to retract that story, but they do it quietly because the new headline comes out. It doesn't matter. They could lie 10 million times. They have lied 10 million times. It's just no one cares because they're programmed to hate Trump. They're programmed to be like, oh, that's not a big deal, or, they were on this and that. I get the game that they're playing, but it should be a concern to any liberal or left-leaning person that they have no solutions, that they have no platform, that they have no strategies, that they have no sort of constructive criticism. They're literally just anti-Trump, anti-America, anti-anybody who actually understands what's going on, and pro-North Korea regime. They're pro-terrorists. I mean, I'm not like overstepping. I have friends of different religions and ethnicities from the Middle East. I'm not saying that all people are terrorists. I'm saying that my friends in Syria and my friends in the Middle East and my friends that are Muslim are saying, yeah, the Democratic Party, they're completely out of control, CNN's out of control, and they're literally bringing terrorists. You have Justin Trudeau of Canada. It's not like a metaphor. It's not like we think all people are terrorists. Literally, people will ask him, hey, Justin Trudeau, you're bringing ISIS terrorists into Canada. How do you make us feel safe? And he won't even address the problem. He calls them travelers. And we're not talking about your run-of-the-mill Muslim. We're not talking about someone from the Middle East. We're specifically talking about ISIS fighters, ISIS members, people that chop off people's heads because they have a different ideology than them. And your Democratic leadership, your fake pseudo-liberal leadership that NPR supports, that CNN supports, that New York Times supports, Washington Post supports, they're literally telling you to your face that they don't care. They're bringing ISIS refugees to your countries, and that's how dumbed down the modern liberal. I don't know. I'm like very into liberal values, and to me that's concerning, but I guess people are so dumbed down, they're such useful idiots from listening to all these fake pseudo-intellectual news organizations for so long that doesn't even matter to them. They're like, oh yeah, let's teach them poetry and let's just kill ourselves because, it's all our fault. I just don't even understand because it's not even like hidden anymore. Like 5 years ago, it was harder to see. It's like, oh, what are they doing? We don't know. They're telling you, Justin Trudeau is telling you to your face, I'm bringing ISIS members to Canada. CNN, New York Times, Washington Post, they want to bring ISIS members to the country. But no one cares because everything's racist, sexist, and xenophobic, and 95% of the news won't cover that because it's taboo. So that's what's happening to North Korea. They're elevating North Korea. Kim Jong-un's sister stealing the show at the Winter Olympics. She takes the spotlight from Pence. They're planting that, taking the spotlight from Pence. They want North Korea to take control and power from the United States vice president. I don't care if Hillary Clinton's president. I don't care if Barack Obama's president. People always say to me, oh, where were you during Obama? Blah, blah, blah. Why weren't you saying? I didn't hate on Obama. I mean, you could look at my track record. I started speaking out again, about some things Obama was doing like 8 years in. I gave him 7.5 whole years to do his thing. So I do call it both ways. I'm sorry that the chips don't fall in your favor now. I'm sorry that offends you and you can't fathom that all of these things are not true. But on that note, thank you guys for staying tuned. I want to talk about Syria and what U.S. General Mattis has said recently and explain how they lied to everybody about Syria and somehow they're convincing pseudo-intellectual, like, science-loving liberals to think that war and funding terrorists is okay. I guess that's okay now to liberals. I mean, it's really creeping me out because, as all of this is happening, Julian Assange is getting sent white powder. Donald Trump is getting sent white powder. They're like programming left-leaning people to literally turn into zombies. And like I said, usually I romanticize it a little more. I don't know a nicer way to put it. I'm taking a walk with somebody who's very, very nice girl, very hippie feminist, you know what I'm saying? Like, I love everybody. And she literally admits to me that she would be completely okay with killing 100 million Republicans and conservatives and wiping them off the map. Literally, somebody said that to me. A feminist hippie told me that their idea of a better America would be wiping out and killing a bunch of Republicans. I mean, these are people telling me this in person. These are hippies and feminists. So at what point are people going to wake up and realize they're literally being programmed? Like, even some of my smartest, most intelligent, kindest friends are like programmed zombies. I'm not even sure if they're human beings anymore because they're acting like robots. Like, did Elon Musk plant a chip in their brain? Or is this just like 20 years of listening to CNN and NPR and ABC and watching television and watching the commercials? I don't know which one is which. I mean, these are the things that people are telling to me. So when someone gets shot up at a Republican baseball game, and Rand Paul, who's actually, one of the only really genuine Republicans out there, gets tackled by his neighbor, I'm not surprised because 95% of the news, including Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Google, New York Times, Washington Post, CNN, ABC, NBC, NPR, they're programming people, literally programming like computers, to just want to kill people and want to like, oh my God, I can't even accept that ideology. They're lying to you on so many levels. It's embarrassing. And they're not lying to you to make a free world. They're lying to you to bring criminals to the United States. They're lying to you to bring ISIS members to the United States. They're lying to you to literally start wars with Syria and ignore, regime change wars in Libya. Like, I can't think of, I'm running out of patience. I'm running out of, I won't even say kindness because I'm not going to stop my kindness. But I'm running out of like the babying people. I get it. Like, you have all these things. I'm done babying you because it's getting pathetic. And this is how a communist regime would take over. You're scared of right-wing extremists. This is how it happens. They destabilize a nation with the media. They turn you into a bunch of useful idiots going to your 9-to-5 job, watching television and believing all of these things, thinking you're liberal. I mean, they've admitted it millions of times. You're a useful pawn. And they're slowly just weeding in. Oh, North Korea is good. Yeah, North Korea is good. Oh, United States is bad. Freedom's bad. Lower taxes is bad. Smaller big government's bad. They're priming you to turn the United States into Libya or Syria, and don't think it can't happen here. I mean, it's happened in millions of places. Syria is one of the most secular places in the Middle East. They celebrate Christmas. They respect Christians. Libya was on the up and up, Gaddafi was giving his people houses and education, and on a scale of all of Africa, they were doing some pretty revolutionary things. And the United States media somehow convinced liberals that it's okay to march into Africa, kill an African leader, ignore the fact that there's slavery there because of it, march into Syria, try to kill the leader of Syria, fund moderate rebels, let your funding get to terrorists, and is that not one of the things that should be bothering the modern day liberal? But they don't even know about it because they think they're being fed the unbiased truth. And I keep going at NPR because that's one of the biggest thing I hear from people who are liberal. Oh, no, I listen to NPR. I don't listen to CNN. NPR is the CNN of people who are smug and think they know a little bit more, like, oh, I'm getting the truth. It's really balanced and fair. No, it's the same stuff on CNN. They demoralize and demonize any liberal who tells the truth, like a Dennis Kucinich, or anybody who's really breaking through the two-party system and giving you, unfettered information. They will paint those people as right-wing people as well. They did it on NPR. They painted Dennis Kucinich as a Fox News. Oh, he's the guy on Fox. He's just a Fox guy. No, Dennis Kucinich, one of the only decent liberals left in the United States, and NPR, Mr. I'm the Balanced Fair News, they're smearing them. They smear anybody who tells the truth. It's ridiculous. So in Syria, we found out recently, General Mattis said that the Syrian government, there's no proof that they're using sarin gas. So just to refresh and take it from the beginning, in Syria, the whole reason we went into Syria, and I know liberals don't care about this because they're so far brainwashed that Trump did everything and oh my God, like there's no way that anything else happened because Trump's so bad and his wife doesn't like him. I get that people are so programmed that they can't get past it, but while Obama was in office, while everybody, gay people were getting married and everyone was super happy and liberalism was thriving, the United States was fighting multiple proxy wars in 7 different countries. They're in Pakistan, they're in Afghanistan, they're in Yemen, they're in Somalia, they're in Syria, they're in Libya. And they're funding moderate rebels because they're claiming that there's, some sort of gas used. And that's why we were even in Syria. And Syria is a secular government. It's one of the chillest places in the Middle East. And we're intervening because we said that Bashar al-Assad, president of Syria, was using chemical weapons on his own people. They've repeatedly denied this. The Syrian government said they've never used chemical weapons on their own people. There's no reason that they would use chemical weapons on their own people. So what did the United States do? What was the United States' big solution? They said, hey, what would be a good idea? There's a bunch of rebels and there's a bunch of terrorists, Al-Qaeda, Al-Nusra, and these rebel groups on the ground. Let's give them billions of dollars in funding and weapons, and let's fund the rebels to kill the leader of Syria. I mean, you can't make this shit up, man. That's what the United States government was doing under the Obama administration. They were funding rebels, and everyone in Syria, anybody who visited Syria, said one of two things. Either there's no such thing as rebels, or they would say, you know what? The rebels are so small that they just get taken over by terrorist groups, so if you're funding the rebels, one way or another, you're basically just funding Al-Qaeda and ISIS. And we did that in Libya. We gave money to rebels. They killed the leader Gaddafi of Libya. And now there's literally slave trade and organ harvesting in Libya. I mean, this is a reality. You can Google it. It's all over the web. Slave trading in Libya. And it's not a surprise. I mean, that's what happens when you kill the leader of a country. No matter how bad or corrupt it is, that's what the media does. They don't have any solutions. And that's what I'm trying to get people to understand is it's not like they're like Trump's bad and we have a solution. They're trying to kill you. They're trying to tell you North Korea is good. They're trying to tell you communism good. They're trying to sell you Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama as these saints. Oh, she's just a grandmother. She's never done anything. They're trying to kill you. I can't think of a nicer way to put it today. I wish I could. But it's getting past the point of uncanny. That's what they're doing. So they went into Libya, they funded rebels, killed the leader, there's slave trade now, and you don't hear about it because that's how dumb people are. They're not going to tell you about it on NPR. They're not going to tell you about it on CNN because they're telling you they have a big fake story for you to, oh, well, Trump said words about Syria. He said mean things about Africa, even though it's an unreported anonymous claim from the Washington Post, who's basically the anti-Trump resistance within the government. I mean, they're not like a bunch of journalists, they're like a bunch of Hillary Clintons who are desperately trying to get Trump out of power so they could get back in power. So they're like, oh, Trump's an anonymous source familiar with the meeting said that Trump said shithole countries. And everyone's like, oh, wow, he's so bad. Oh, my God. No, the leaders that you think are good literally killed the leader of that country and let slave trading happen. And you think the big story is words that Trump may or may not have said. I mean, it's embarrassing. How do people look at themselves in the mirror? How do people wake up and think that they're actually good people and think that they're actually liberals and think that they're contributing something to society? I mean, this is what's going on, and it's beyond pathetic, and you try to tell something to people, oh, well, Trump's bad too. I mean, he's bad. I'm not saying he's perfect, but if you can't even accept these basic truths, you're not a good person. You believe in terrorism. You believe in, mass murder. You believe in communism. I mean, there's no nicer way to spin it. You're an idiot. You're a useful pawn of the most sick, disturbing people on the face of the planet. And they tried to do the same thing in Syria, and they're still trying to do it through the media. The New York Times, the Washington Post, Reuters, all of them, they're trying to say that Syria is potentially using sarin gas. So this is a report from February 2nd, where Mattis says we don't have evidence that they're using sarin gas, so there's no evidence, but they say that they're using chlorine. So if you actually read the article, I guess if you're like a brainwashed zombie, you think, oh man, they're using chlorine on people. We gotta kill the leader of Syria now. Like, I mean, that's how they're pitching it to anti-Trump people, because Trump, that was a big policy of his. I mean, if you wake up out of this like slumber of 90%, 95% of the brainwashing news, Facebook's lying to you, Twitter's lying to you, Google's lying to you, CNN's lying to you, NPR's lying to you, everybody's lying to you. I'm not saying they know what they're doing. They're probably a bunch of useful idiots as well who went to college and watched all these news networks and became, high-level pawns, like maybe a bishop propagandist. But they're pitching it like, oh, we got to kill the leader now. Anyway, you go into the article and you read, well, who's saying that they're using chlorine? Who are they using it against? It's the rebel groups. And I'm not saying that you should use sarin gas or chlorine. Mattis says that there's no proof that they're using sarin gas. He says that there's proof that the Syrian government used chlorine. And who said that they're using that? The rebel groups. Who are the rebel groups? The rebel groups are the people trying to kill the leader of Syria. So the real news story is the leader of Syria is trying to fight the people who are trying to kill him and get thrown out of office. I mean, it's like if terrorists were in the United States trying to kill the president or trying to kill your governor, and then your governor fights back and the news is like, whoa, he's using weapons. We got to fight him because he's fighting us. I mean, it's so stupid. I mean, I'm running out of patience because I know some of the most intelligent people are just so far gone. It's pathetic. I can't think of a nicer way to put it, really. I'd expect this stuff, and no offense, I know I have a lot of conservative and Republican support as well as some liberals who listen and some progressives, but Republicans and conservatives, I could get how they would turn into war hawks. And I'm not knocking you, but I'm saying, Republicans and conservatives, they support the military. They support being strong and being manly and, going to war and fighting for what's right. So, if it was a Republican president and they're saying, we got to go fight North Korea, we got to go fight Syria, we got to go fight these people, I could see how, in the past and, possibly in the future, the Republican and conservative could get duped. Like, we got to fight. Next thing you know, you're fighting a bunch of people you don't even know why you're fighting. But the fact that liberals are now the party of war, the fact that the modern day moderate liberal is like so far brainwashed that they can't even accept the fact that they're supporting leaders who are just going around the world killing people, allowing slavery, and then taking the refugees, aka the ISIS members that are now displaced, and shipping them to your country. I mean, what's more messed up than killing the leader, creating a refugee crisis, lying about it on the news, and then admitting to your own citizens that you're bringing ISIS members back to your country? Sadiq Khan of London has admitted there's hundreds of ISIS members running around England that they don't know where they are. Justin Trudeau's on television saying he's bringing ISIS members back to the Canadian government, and he compares them to Italian immigrants. Someone's like, they didn't say Muslims, they didn't say people from the Middle East. They were like, hey, Justin, what about ISIS members? Are you bringing ISIS members back? And he's like, they're just travelers, just like Italians. Like, they're admitting to your face. And you have a president, and President Trump, who's saying, there's something wrong, because there is something wrong. The lottery system's outdated. The chain migration system's outdated. The travel ban is necessary because you have all the liberal leaders. Literally, they're not liberals anymore. They're not like, oh, peace, love, and justice. They're like pro-ISIS, pro-North Korea, pro-regime change war, pro-killing the leader of a secular government and letting extremists take over. What do you think's going to happen if you just kill the leader of Syria? Terrorists are going to take over. And President Trump knows all this stuff. He's doing what he can, and the media is completely sabotaging him while they're writing puff pieces on North Korea. And while Chelsea Handler and Rob Reiner are calling for a civil war because they're so stupid and so far brainwashed and so far gone and such nasty, disgusting human beings, that's their solution. They're like, you know what? We've had a good time sending white powder to Donald Trump Jr. We almost killed Rand Paul. We tackled him and broke all his ribs. We almost killed Steve Scalise, who's fighting for human trafficking. let's just start a whole civil war because we're so stupid. We're so dumb. We're so brainwashed that, you know, unless we bring in ISIS refugees, unless we kill a bunch of leaders and start wars all over the world, I mean, it's so dangerous, this rhetoric. And I'm all for an open debate. I'm all for, you know, both sides coming to conclusions. I think we need liberal values. I mean, I come from a liberal background in the sense of I'm about it. Peace, love, positivity. Don't judge people based on their race, religion, or gender. You know what I'm saying? I'm for all of those things, and I understand a lot of people on the right do not effectively communicate that, and I understand why you'd be mad. But if you take away all of the media stuff, if you take away all of the you know, stuff there where they're like, oh, look at the Republicans, look at the Democrats, and you look at what President Trump's plan is, and what Chelsea Handler's plan is, and what Rob Reiner's plan, and what CNN and New York Times, they're trying to ruin everything. They have no solution. They have no solution for immigration. They have no solution for travel security. They have no solution for not bringing ISIS members back. They have no solution for stopping all of these wars. They have no solutions for anything, and it's disgusting, and it's disturbing to me that people hate President Trump so much that they're willing to ignore all of this stuff and try to equate it. Even progressives sometimes would be to me, well, like, oh, well, Trump is, you know, he's doing this bad. I'm not saying he's perfect. I know there's people in his cabinet that could be better for sure, but you're trying to equate literally the craziest stuff on the planet to like your preference of like, oh, you wish he spoke a little bit nicer to you. I mean, it's pathetic. There's no nicer way to really put it this morning. It's pathetic. It's disturbing. And if people don't stand up and people don't step up like they are, to be honest, that's why they're so desperate, because they're losing on every level. They're losing in the government. They're now losing in pop culture. They've had a stronghold on pop culture, but they're getting so pathetic and dishonest, they're losing that. You know, people don't watch the comedy shows anymore because they're just propagandists, you know? Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Kimmel, they're not comedians. They're establishment hacks who are trying to lead you to big government and more war. I wish there were a nicer way to put that, but it's just not anymore. And they're losing. Their award shows are going down. Their networks are getting tuned out of. People don't trust the news anymore. You know, they're not cool anymore. There's rock stars on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter now. So what are they doing in response? And this is what, like I've said, I don't understand personally how liberals don't get what's going on. I know some progressives do, but they're not getting better. Like the video I made last week about the Democratic Party, they're not learning, they're not accepting, they're blaming you, they're blaming Russia, they're calling you Russian, they're promoting North Korea, and they're literally trying to further censor the Facebook, Twitter, and Google. They're going to Facebook, they're going to Mark Zuckerberg, and they're literally saying, you're not censoring enough, even though it's already a left-wing, extremely partisan news section where they lie to you all day. I understand why people, to be honest, I understand why there is that much energy that they're like, fuck Republicans. You know, I hate Republicans, I hate conservatives. I get why you have that energy, because if you believe Facebook, if I believe Twitter and I believe CNN, I would love North Korea, I would hate America, I would hate the flag, I would hate President Trump, I would hate conservatives, I would hate Republicans. If I believe them, I'd feel the same way as you, but I know better to believe them because I read the articles. I don't just read the headlines. I read what they're saying, and nothing they're saying ever makes sense, but they don't need to make sense because that's how dumb people are nowadays. And it's so bad, and it's so rigged. It's the dream of the communists. The communists are cracking up. You know, real KGB and real Soviet people are laughing at how bad the United States is right now when it comes to media and entertainment, because this is their goal. This was their plan, to destabilize and demoralize an entire nation, and that's how you do it. And just to, you know, a wake-up call to any liberals or whatnot that are living in the greatest time ever, this is how they do it to other countries as well. First they demoralize, then they destabilize, sometimes with force, sometimes with slanted media coverage, or using slanted media coverage to justify sending people there, and then they physically destroy a nation. So we're far past the point of demoralization. We're, you know, approaching destabilization. So if you don't want the United States to end up like Libya or Syria, this would be the time to wake up, because like many propagandists have said, you won't understand until it's too late. And it's getting close to the point of being too late. Luckily, there's hundreds of millions of people woke up. the United States is more awake than ever. That's why there's so much anger and anger and anger, because if you live in an alternate reality, you're going to get upset because everything that you've been told by Chelsea Handler, by Stephen Colbert, by Jimmy Kimmel, by CNN, by ABC, by NBC, it's not true. I mean, they're using half-truths, and they're using all these things to basically promote bigger government and more censorship and more surveillance and more wars and more regime change wars and more terrorists, like literally terrorists, not like, oh, you know, right-wing conservatives hate, you know, people of other religions. I'm not talking about that type of ignorance, which totally does exist, and I don't in any way, shape, or form condone it, but they're not even lying to you anymore. They're not even masking it. They're literally telling you to your face, we're bringing terrorists back to your country, and liberals are okay with it. I mean, it's just proof. They're laughing. They're like, these morons will believe anything. You throw a Charlottesville at them. You throw a, you know, white supremacist Vice documentary, and these idiots will go along with anything. They'll literally manifest their own demise. And that's what the news is doing. It's not going to work. There will be backlash. Luckily, you know, there's hundreds of millions of people that are not playing along. But I just wanted to use this live stream as an example. It's all love, it's all peace, it's all positivity, it's all unity. You know, there's no hate. I just don't know a nicer way to put it anymore. They're not hiding it. They're promoting North Korea, which you could look at a satellite picture at night. The city's not lit up because, you know, according to many reports, they're in famine, they're in starvation. It's like a king. They treat Kim Jong-un like the god, and everybody else is like a slave. And that's the regime they're promoting. These things are not coincidences. I'm sorry. There's a reason that they go to Libya. There's a reason that they go to Syria. There's a reason that George Soros is spending $500 million to stop Brexit. There's a reason that, you know, very wealthy billionaires are spending billions of dollars to upend President Trump. They had a plan to take over the entire world, and it didn't work. So now they're using your hate and your emotions for the president, which they can literally program everything that he says. So then when the truth comes out, you can't even accept it. They just want power back. I mean, it's just so blatantly obvious. Like, they've slowly programmed people to the point where they're like ramping it up. And if they can literally write puff pieces on North Korea and convince liberals to ignore slavery in Libya, and convince liberals to think because Trump said something that we should go and kill the secular leader of Syria, I mean, what can they do next? They can do anything. If they can literally make you do those two things, they can make you do anything. And it's far past the point of weird. It's far past the point of obvious. They're going to keep ramping it up. And I'm willing to discuss, I'm willing to debate. I've said many times, any liberal or any progressive that has a similar following, I'm not a small fry. I'm not somebody below them. 250 million views last year between my two channels. Over 1 billion people reached. I'm bigger than most news shows and a lot of news analysts who get airtime and millions of dollars. So I'm not a small fry. I'm willing to debate anybody, any liberal, any progressive, get the dialogue going. Because I would love to see, if someone disagrees with me, like I know a lot of people come in sometimes, not a lot, not that many to be honest, but like sometimes people will message me and say, oh, I don't like you, you're lying about this and that, blah, 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 this is wrong, Trump is bad, and that's fine, a debate is healthy, but what I say to those people is, find me a liberal or find me a progressive or find me a news analyst that you enjoy, that's comparable to my following, and let's set up a debate. Let's put it to the test. If you think I'm lying, I'm not hiding. This is not a propaganda effort. I tell people, don't blindly believe me. Research for yourself. This is not a cult. I tell people, please do research. Look on your own. Have your own perspective. Don't blindly believe me. But I'm willing to debate anybody. So I'm waiting. I've mentioned it to one of my friends who's a progressive, who's like half woke and half kind of, a useful pawn. And I said in the most respectful way possible, I was like, hey man, let's have a debate. And he cursed me out and, screamed at me. Because I guess, he'd rather just sit in his echo chamber and lie to everybody and be the man, rather than put, his lies to the test. I understand why people don't want to debate me, but if you don't agree with what I'm saying, please find me somebody that you do agree with. Let's sit down and have a debate. Let's set it up. Let's raise money and give it to a charity, whatever. I don't care. I'm ready to go, because anytime I speak to anybody, I've done it thousands of times, they don't have a rebuttal, because, or they have something that, we go from here to here, whatever. Debate is very healthy, so I'm just ready. I'm just saying, I'm ready to do it. And I'm trying to be as respectful. I'm trying to be as patient, as kind as possible. But I'm running out of patience, because what makes you think that communism can't come to the United States? What makes you think that terrorism can't come to the United States? What makes you think that war can't come here? I mean, it's all over the world right now. So you're foolish. You're a damn fool if you think that it could never happen here, because it will happen if you're such a useful idiot that you manifest it and bring it to this country. I mean, they're literally telling you now. It's like mind-boggling to me. Are people really that dumbed down that they're literally promoting North Korea, promoting war, trying to bash North Korea and the U.S. together, and they've showed more support for North Korea than they have the United States? I mean, these people, they want us to end up like Syria. I don't know a nicer way to put it. They want us to end up like Libya. If they don't, let's have a debate about it, because I would love to hear their perspective on why they're doing this, on why they're running all these articles, on why they're lying about Syria, why they're covering up Libya, on why they're, using a bunch of fake fact-checking news sites to dupe people into thinking that things that are real aren't real. I can't figure it out. And I'm absolutely just running out of patience, because it's going to get bad. I have faith. I think it's better than ever. I think it will continue to get, better in a certain sense. But like, when are they going to stop pushing? That's all. I'm just like blown away at like what they're trying to accomplish. I don't know. I don't know what the Democratic Party's trying to accomplish. I don't know what the media's trying to accomplish. They don't know what they're trying to accomplish. They get mad at me when they themselves say they don't know what they're trying to accomplish, and they're like, "Well, I don't want to talk about it. I just want to hate Republicans." It's like, I get it. I'm not a Republican, so you're not, you're preaching to the choir or whatever. I mean, we'll end this right here, but if you would like, I'm going to post my links below. Please sign up to my email list. I'm going to do a video later today to say how you can see my post, because I do believe that the algorithm has changed on Facebook. I'm going to explain it. I wouldn't say they're probably not censoring me per se, but they are making it so family and friend content show up before my content. You're not going to see as much of my page, so there's a way that you can see all the posts, and they still honestly might censor it, but it's all good. They're not really hurting my numbers, but that is the new algorithm switch. So a lot of people have been like, I've seen your stuff less. I'm going to make a video explaining it and how you can see more of my content if they do that. And the shares now mean more than ever, because people will see it on your page, so you might not see my page, but if you come to it and share it, it's family and friends oriented, and they're brands and businesses and people like me. They're putting our visibility lower. So once again, my links are going to be below. My email list is very important if you would like to stay connected. My YouTube, I'll post, I'll post my website with all my links. I'll post my donation link if you would like to support. I appreciate that. The more people give, the more I am able to be free and do more things. I'm creating a website. I have the podcast. I'm editing and doing all sorts of stuff every day, and making it so we set up a real structure that in the future, that money flows and that we don't have to worry about that stuff. But it's very, very helpful. I appreciate that. I'm going to put up my shirt website as well, dreamrare.com. And I will be back later with a video explaining how you can see more of my posts. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you guys as always. Have a good day. Don't stress out about anything. It's just getting a little weird to me. Like, I'm very patient. I'm patient. And then it's like the New York Times and CNN, they're putting out puff pieces on the propagandists of North Korea. I mean, come on. What liberal on the planet is okay with this? I mean, this is totally creepy. And they're not doing it like, oh, let's get good relations with North Korea. They're trying to sabotage our relations with North Korea. They're trying to prevent us from having North Korean relations. They're, emboldening their weapon base. And then they're puff piecing them. I mean, I don't understand what else it could possibly be besides the fact that they're literally trying to destroy the country. I mean, I can't think of a nicer way to put it today. Thank you guys so much. God bless you. God bless America. God bless the world. And God bless the media. They need it the most. I mean, blessings to the media. I hope that the blessing reaches their soul, reaches their mind, and gives us some good energy, because the media needs that more than anyone. Thank you guys so much. Have a good day.